Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Liam stared at the open closet, eyes tracing over the familiar dresses and blouses that hung neatly from the rod. His wife's clothes, Clara's clothes. He reached out and let his fingers brush over the soft, floral-printed fabric of her favorite blue dress. She had worn it just a couple months back, twirling around the kitchen and laughing, so full of life. That life was gone now. It had only been a week since the accident, since that awful phone call cutting through a normal workday to tell him his wife was dead, hit by a drunk driver only a few blocks from their house, killed instantly. And just like that, Clara was ripped away from him, from their life together. The first few days had passed in a blur of funeral arrangements and consoling family visits, well-meaning words that barely penetrated his numb mind. And now here he was, alone in their bedroom, surrounded by Clara's things. He hadn't been able to bring himself to touch anything yet. It was too hard looking at these little pieces of her and knowing he'd never hear her voice again, never see her smile. But he missed her so terribly. Missed her laughter and her embrace, her scent and the feel of her hand in his. Liam sank down on the edge of the bed, dropping his head in his hands as tears burned in his eyes. It wasn't fair. They were supposed to have so many more years together, to grow old side by side. They had just started talking about taking a big trip to celebrate their upcoming 10th anniversary. Clara had always wanted to go to Ireland, to kiss the Blarney Stone and see the lush green countryside. Now she never would. Liam roughly brushed the tears from his cheeks. He couldn't keep sitting here crying. It wasn't going to bring Clara back. He needed to start going through her things, as painful as it was. She had family who would want some mementos of her. The rest he could donate or keep stored away. Out of sight, if not out of mind. He stood up and went back to the closet, looking over the options. Maybe he'd start with her jewelry box. As he reached for it on the shelf, his hand accidentally brushed a hanger and it swung, causing something silky to slip off and float down to the floor. Liam bent to pick it up. It was one of Clara's nightgowns, a pretty lavender one she often wore to bed. He remembered how she'd lounge next to him reading, the thin strap slipping off her shoulder, fabric clinging softly to her curves. Without thinking, he brought the nightgown to his face and breathed in. It still smelled faintly of her perfume. Gripping the fabric tight, Liam felt a sob building in his chest. He missed her so much. Before he even realized what he was doing, Liam stripped off his shirt and tugged the nightgown over his head. The silky material whispered down his body, enveloping him in Clara's scent. He hugged his arms around himself, eyes slipping closed. For a moment, just a moment, he could almost pretend it was her arms holding him instead of his own. "Oh, Clara," he whispered brokenly. "I miss you. I miss you so much." He stood there, lost in memories. Clara's laughter echoed in his ears. He could see her smile, feel the brush of her hand against his cheek. The ache in his chest was a physical pain, like his heart was being ripped right out of his body. She had been his whole world, his partner, his best friend. They had built a life together filled with joy and dreams. And now she was gone. After a while, Liam carefully slipped the nightgown off and laid it on the bed. He wiped his eyes and took a deep, shaky breath. Wallowing in grief wouldn't help. Clara would want him to keep living, to find some way to be happy again. He spent the next few hours going through her things methodically. Some jewelry went into a box to give to her sister. He set aside a couple of Clara's favorite outfits and pairs of shoes to keep for himself. The rest he sorted into bags for donation. It was difficult work that left Liam drained and heartsick, but it needed to be done. Tomorrow, he would tackle the bathroom, clearing out her toiletries and makeups. He'd slowly pack up her presents throughout the house until only the cherished memories remained. Liam carried the bags of clothes out to the garage where he'd drop them off later. Back inside, he tidied up the bedroom and went to close the closet doors. His gaze fell on Clara's nightgown, still laying softly across the bed. On impulse, he picked it up and draped it over his pillow. Just for tonight, he would let himself have this little piece of her close as he slept. Liam crawled into bed and reached out to touch the lavender fabric, eyes closing with fresh tears. "Good night, my love," he whispered. "I'll always love you." The ache in his heart remained, but wrapping himself in Clara's nightgown had brought him a small measure of comfort. He fell into a fitful sleep, dreams filled with memories of happier times. Liam awoke slowly, blinking against the morning sunlight filtering into the bedroom. For a moment, he felt disoriented, confused about why the lavender silk was draped across his chest. And then it came back in a wave. Clara was gone. The ache of grief settled heavily over him once more. He sat up slowly, letting the nightgown slip down to pool in his lap. Touching the soft fabric brought back memories of Clara wearing it, of tender moments shared between them. It occurred to Liam that having something of hers so close while he slept had helped. The nightmares that had plagued him all week held back for the first time. Liam carefully got out of bed and folded the nightgown, setting it on Clara's pillow. He showered and dressed for the day, thoughts lingering on how comforting it had been to wear that little piece of her. Over the next few days, a new routine emerged. Liam would go about his work and errands as normal, struggling through his grief alone. But each night when he came home, he would make himself dinner, then retreat to the bedroom. After changing into pajamas, he would pick out one of Clara's nightgowns or robes and pull it on over his clothes. Wrapped in these feminine garments, Liam would climb into bed and close his eyes, memories washing over him. If he focused, he could imagine Clara's scent, could almost feel her presence there with him. It eased the constant ache in his heart ever so slightly, enough that he could fall asleep peacefully. On weekends, Liam continued boxing up Clara's things to give away or donate, her jewelry and some favorite outfits he kept in the closet, not ready yet to part with those precious mementos. But clearing out her other clothes and personal items helped make the house less painfully empty. One Saturday evening, after a long day of packing up the guest room, Liam decided to treat himself. He ordered in dinner from Clara's favorite Italian restaurant, lighting candles and putting on some soft music as he ate. It was something they used to do together for special occasions. After cleaning up, Liam went to change into pajamas. But instead, on impulse, he reached for one of Clara's dresses still hanging in the closet. It was a vintage-style floral cotton dress with a full skirt, one she had worn when they picnicked in the park last spring. Slipping the dress over his head, Liam closed his eyes and breathed deeply as memories swirled around him. The feel of the skirt swishing around his legs and the bodice hugging his torso was comforting, like Clara's arms embracing him. Liam hugged himself gently, pretending for a moment that she was there. He could almost hear her voice, see her vibrant smile. It eased the constant ache inside him. From then on, Liam integrated wearing Clara's dresses and skirts into his evenings at home. The feminine clothes made him feel closer to her, enveloping him in memories and echoes of her presence. He took care hanging up each item afterward, treasuring these little pieces of his wife. A few weeks later, Liam came across a pair of Clara's heels in the closet. On impulse, he decided to try them on with the pretty floral sundress he had picked for that evening. As he buckled the straps around his ankles, Liam chuckled to himself, imagining what Clara would say about her husband clomping around in her clothes. She had always gently teased him for his lack of fashion sense. Walking in the heels took practice, but soon Liam managed a passable strut across the bedroom. The shoes changed his posture, forced him to walk with more grace. For a moment, looking in the mirror, the figure staring back almost looked like Clara. Liam's breath caught in his throat, and his eyes misted with tears. From then on, he added shoes and jewelry to complete the outfits each evening. Clara's perfume, makeup, and lacy slips also found their way into Liam's dressing-up routines. Experimenting with these feminine things made him feel closer to his late wife, like keeping a part of her spirit alive. The neighbors might find it odd, Liam thought, if they knew he spent his evenings dressed in women's clothing, sipping wine and listening to old records as if Clara was there with him. But it brought him comfort. The clothes kept her memory wrapped warmly around him, easing the ache of her loss. One night, about 2 months after the accident, Liam decided to really immerse himself in the fantasy. He took his time applying a touch of makeup as Clara had taught him, slipped on a wig of long curls so similar to her own hair. Her favorite perfume, the floral scent he had picked up on the nightgown that first night, went on his pulse points. He stepped into the red halter dress she had worn on their honeymoon and fastened her pearl necklace around his neck. Looking in the mirror, it was almost like Clara stood before him. Liam's breath caught on a sob. How he missed her. Missed her laughter, her wisdom, her passion. His best friend, his whole world. Gone forever. "I wish you were here," he whispered, tears spilling down his cheeks. But wearing her things, immersing himself in her memory was the closest he could get to having her back. It eased the constant ache in his heart to wrap himself in the clothes, perfumes, and jewelry his late wife had cherished. To surround himself with the echoes of her presence, even if imagined. Liam knew the grief would always be with him, but he was learning how to carry it, how to find moments of peace and solace. Clara remained his true love, and keeping her memory close brought him some measure of healing. One day, Liam stared at his reflection in the full-length mirror, taking in the wig, makeup, dress, and heels. He looked so much like Clara. But underneath it all, he was still just himself. A sad, broken man trying desperately to hold on to his wife even after she was gone. Was he losing his mind? Liam sank down on the edge of the bed, heels slipping off as he dropped his head into his hands. What would Clara think if she could see him now, dressing in her clothes every night, surrounding himself with her scent and their memories? Pretending, fantasizing that she was still here. "This isn't healthy," he murmured. When he had first started wearing her nightgowns, it had brought some small comfort. But now he was unraveling. A sob hitched in Liam's chest. He missed Clara so much, he ached with it. Missed her smile, her laugh, her wisdom and passion. She had been his whole world, his partner, lover, best friend. Losing her had shattered his heart into pieces. He had been struggling to carry on alone, to face each new day without her by his side. But dressing up had become an obsession, a desperate attempt to keep Clara's memory close. Liam knew she would want him to heal, to someday find happiness again. Yet he couldn't let go. Wearing her clothes made him feel like she was still with him somehow. But the comfort was only an illusion, and underneath the grief remained. Sharp and raw. Perhaps he just needed more time. But how long could he keep up these rituals before they consumed him? Liam carefully removed the wig and makeup, wiping away the last traces of Clara from his face. He changed out of the red dress and heels, putting the outfit back on its hanger as if she might return to wear it. But she never would. Exhausted in body and spirit, Liam curled up on the bed in his pajamas. He missed Clara's warmth beside him, her rhythmic breathing as she slept, the reassuring weight of her arm draped over his waist. His eyes burned with tears, and he clutched her pillow tight, breathing in her faded scent. Somehow he had to find a way forward, but he felt lost, like he was drowning in grief with no lifeline to cling to. Liam eventually cried himself to sleep, haunted by dreams where he searched and searched for Clara, but she remained just out of reach. Morning came too soon, sunlight filtering in to wake him. Liam sat up slowly, rubbing gritty eyes. His whole body felt heavy and numb. He wasn't sure how to make it through another endless day missing Clara. As he sat there lost in grief, Liam's gaze fell on the nightstand drawer, Clara's drawer, where she had kept a hairbrush, lip balm, and her journal. A glimmer of an idea came to Liam then. Clara had often poured her thoughts and feelings into that journal. Maybe he would find some solace in her words. With trembling hands, Liam opened the drawer and lifted out the familiar leather-bound book. He ran his fingers over the soft cover before opening it. The sight of Clara's looping script wrenched a sob from his chest. He took a shaky breath and started reading the first page. The entries were a glimpse into her innermost thoughts and dreams, her joy upon meeting Liam, falling in love, their wedding day bliss, hopes for the future, travels, children, growing old together. Liam soaked up every word, fresh grief mixing with nostalgia for happier times. Further in, Clara had written about the struggles and joys of marriage, the work to keep romance alive, maintain friendship and intimacy, her pride watching Liam succeed in his career, simple moments of laughter and connection. Liam found himself smiling even as tears slipped down his cheeks. As he neared the end, Clara's reflections became more introspective. She wrote of feeling time slip by too fast, trying to appreciate each day, of reminding herself to be present with Liam, to fully cherish their love. Entries expressing gratitude for his partnership, his loyalty and tenderness, undying belief in their enduring bond, no matter what challenges life presented. All the way at the end of the journal on the last page, Clara had written something down for Liam. "My darling Liam, if you are reading this, I am gone from your life too soon. I know you will be lost and confused, grieving our stolen time. But know that you made my life truly beautiful. Every day with you was a gift. Your smile, your laughter, your unwavering heart. You are the love of my life, my home. When I am gone, please remember all the joy we shared. Do not let grief consume you. Honor our love by living fully, finding moments of happiness again. Keep me in your heart, but look forward. We will be together again one day. But for now, you must continue on. Be strong for me, my love. I am forever yours." Liam's body shook with sobs as he clutched the journal to his chest. Clara's wise, comforting words washed over him like a soothing balm. Even in her final days, she had been thinking of his grief, hoping to ease the pain of her absence. She truly knew him better than anyone. Wiping his eyes, Liam read over the passage again. He had been spiraling into obsessive rituals to avoid facing the harsh reality of Clara's death. But he couldn't hide forever. If he was ever going to heal, he had to find the courage to start truly living again. Liam spent the rest of the day reflecting on Clara's journal. He let the grief flow freely, the comfort of her words guiding him. She was right. He had to look forward now, while still honoring their enduring bond. Liam took a deep breath as he stared at his reflection in the full-length mirror. He was wearing one of Clara's floral print dresses, paired with a soft pink cardigan and low heels. A wig of honey blonde curls brushed his shoulders, and he'd applied just a touch of makeup, some mascara and lip gloss. To an outsider, he looked like any other woman running errands on a sunny Saturday afternoon. But on the inside, Liam's heart was pounding. This would be the first time venturing out dressed in his late wife's clothes. The first time trying to publicly embrace an identity he had only explored in the safety of home. It felt like a big step forward, but also utterly terrifying. "You can do this," Liam whispered to himself. He glanced at the open journal on the bed, rereading Clara's comforting words for the 100th time. She had faith he could move forward while honoring her memory. With a shaky exhale, he tucked the journal into his purse and headed for the door. The spring air was warm as Liam walked to his car. He kept his head down, irrationally worried someone might see him through a window. But he made it into the driver's seat without incident, skirt fluttering around his knees. After another steadying breath, Liam started the engine and pulled onto the street. Liam concentrated on driving, trying not to obsess over what strangers might think. He pulled into the parking lot and found a space, smoothing his skirt with sweaty palms. "You can do this," he repeated softly. Head held high, Liam stepped out of the car. The automatic doors whooshed open. Liam grabbed a cart, focusing on the list in his purse. He started through the produce section, skirt swishing around his legs with each step. It felt liberating, if a bit nerve-wracking. Liam selected some fresh fruits and vegetables, tuning out the other shoppers. No one was paying him any attention. He began to relax, strolling through the aisles to pick up bread, cheese, milk, and other staples. This was the first time Liam had run errands since Clara passed. Keeping busy helped distract from the lingering ache in his heart. Unloading his haul at the register, Liam chatted casually with the cashier, a young woman who reminded him a bit of Clara. She smiled warmly as she bagged his items, wishing him a nice day. Liam walked out of the store with a renewed spring in his step. That first outing had gone perfectly. He would definitely do this again. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.